Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Placerville City Council meeting for July 9th, 2024. Will you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can we get roll call, please?
Councilmember Gottberg. Here. Vice Mayor Clarici.
Here.
Councilmember Zaragoza.
Here.
Mayor No.
Here.
And Councilmember Yarbrough will be noted as absent. Thank you.
Okay. That moves us to item 3, ceremonial matters. We have 3.1, National Night Out Proclamation. I will read for you. A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Placerville declaring August 6, 2024 as National Night Out. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide Lights On campaign and celebration against crime, drug, and violence on August 6, 2024, entitled National Night Out. And whereas National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the City of Placerville to join forces with 38 million people and over 16,000 communities from all 50 states, U.S. territories, Canadian cities, and military bases in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas the City Council plays a vital role in assisting the Placerville Police Department through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in the City of Placerville and is supporting National Night Out 2024 locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of the City of Placerville be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Placerville. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and camaraderie are important themes of the National Night Out program. Now, therefore, I, Jackie No, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Placerville, State of California, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 6, 2024, as National Night Out in the City of Placerville, and urge all citizens of the City of Placerville to join in the Placerville Police Department, the National Association of Town Watch, and their sponsors in supporting National Night Out on August 6, 2024. Did everyone get that's August 6, 2024?
August 6th.
All right. No, it's a great event. It's one of my favorites here in town. I hope everybody comes out to their neighborhoods and meets everybody. Yep. Who is here to receive this proclamation?
Sergeant Pratt.
Sergeant Pratt?
Oh. And just real briefly, I do want to recognize the members of our team at the Placerville Police Department. It is a lot of work organizing different neighborhoods that have different needs and desires throughout this community, and they do a great job.
Thank you, Council, for recognizing this very big event for our police department and everything. I have to say that Officer Irwin behind me has been doing most, if not all, of the work this year for it. So she's really made my job easy this year. So big thanks to her for everything she's done. Again, as you were saying, it's August 6th. Please come out. We have 13 different parties around the city. And we'd also like to say a special thanks to all of our local sponsors. Too many to name, but there'll be some handouts showing them. They really come forth and give us a lot of support in this wonderful event. So thank you. Look forward to seeing everybody out there.
It's a great thing.
Great. We have a...
Hopefully, are we getting like a polo again this year?
We're getting some kind of shirt. Get this polo. I love this polo.
I know.
It's great. Oh.
We just got a T-shirt last year.
That's true. It wasn't as cool.
It was a nice T-shirt, but it was like,
Yeah. No, this one was it had a little pocket for my pen.
that's cool. See, we didn't get anything like that. I would have given them more money if they'd have bought us some shirts.
I love my hat because everyone was like, "Oh, you work for the Placerville
I
Police
know.
Department."
That's right. That's the one where you get pulled over by the CHP. You
Yeah,
put that bad
exactly.
boy on. And go, yes, officer, what do you need? Oh, that's good.
Remember, August 6th, everybody.
August 6th?
August 6th.
August 6th.
Good job, you guys. Any other comments? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll move on to closed session report. City Attorney Abrahimi.
Thank you, Mayor No. The council met in closed session on public employee appointment on the Director of Community Services. There was no public comment, and the council provided direction to staff.
Great, thank you. That brings us to adoption of the agenda.
I'll move the agenda.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. Item 6, announcements and presentations to the public. Brief comments by the City Council. Councilmember Gottberg.
I just wanted to thank our first responders for all their work on the fire and evacuations over the weekend.
Vice Mayor.
Same thing.
Councilmember Saragosa.
That makes ditto 3 on that item. And then I was going to say this during our reports out, but I'll just do it now. We went to Denver with SACOG. So we had about 40 people that went. It was a pretty large delegation that went from SACOG out to Denver just to see. It was really focused on infill housing and affordable housing, some of the things that they're doing. We did a little bit of transit while we were out there. But the interesting thing is we took builders with us. So it wasn't just board members, but also builders that are doing things here in the greater region to really see if there were best practices or other ideas that we could take. And there were some unique things that they do in Denver that may have some applicability here. The one big thing that they don't have is CEQA. So, that makes, they have to use NEPA, but it certainly makes for, maybe 15%, 20% less potentially on a project as you go forward. But they had some unique financing vehicles that they had. And then the city of Denver really has a lot of skin in the game when it comes to bonding out properties and land. And then, really having houses that are built upon that land that they have purchased to try to drive down some of the costs for affordable housing. So it's not something that Placerville could ever do, but maybe in the region like a Sacramento might be able to do some of those things, especially as we look at the amount of homelessness in some of our bigger cities. So all in all, I think it was pretty educational. It was humid as heck for whatever reason in Denver, which is unusual. But I thought it was a good thing, and I'm glad we had a lot of our private sector folks come with us as well. So thank you.
Great, thank you. I wanted to share with all my council members and thanking our both firefighters and law enforcement. That was a lot to manage, and getting on it so fast that it didn't really spread into the city. So that was a huge relief. Big thanks. Last I looked, we were at 65% containment, and all the evacuation orders have been lifted, so making great progress, and really appreciate all your work. Thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent calendar. Would anyone like to pull an item?
I need to pull item 7.8 because I need to recuse myself on the item because my company holds an environmental services contract with Caltrans.
Okay, thank you. We will pull 7.8. Anything else? No? Okay.
No, I was going to do the same one anyway. So.
Okay, great. We will open this to public comment on items except 7.8. Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to the council. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the consent calendar with item 7.8 pulled.
I will second.
Can I get roll call?
I thought she did.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great big man.
Okay, can I get roll call, please?
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Saragosa?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici?
Aye.
Mayor No?
Aye. Right. Okay, that brings us to public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits the council from acting on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the city council under specified circumstances. The mayor reserves the right to limit the speaker's time to 3 minutes. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or may invade an individual's personal privacy. Public comment is open. Step right up.
So Rodman, City of Placerville, and I too would like to thank our fire chief and the firefighters and Cal Fire and the people who did the air show, because they did a fantastic job and kept us. It could have been a really bad fire, and they kept it from getting to that point. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we will bring this back to council. 8.2, written communications.
No, Madam Mayor, there was no other written communication than what's on the agenda.
Great, thank you very much. That will bring us to item 9, items pulled from the consent calendar.
I already said why I'm recusing myself.
Yep. Councilmember Gottberg is recusing herself and exiting the room. Okay, 7.8, the subject is considering approving cooperative agreements with the California State Department of Transportation for US 50 Trip to Green Congestion Management and Resiliency Strategy Project and authorizing the city manager to execute the same, prepared by Ms. McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor No and City Council. The item before you this evening would approve a cooperative agreement with Caltrans for the US 50 Trip to Green Congestion Management and Resiliency Strategy Project. In 2023, following the success of the Trip to Green pilot program, staff applied for and successfully secured local transportation climate adaptation program grant funds for a new project to install permanent infrastructure on US 50. The vision for this new permanent infrastructure includes features like intelligent transportation system signage, barriers, and gates, and other channelization devices that would enable the traffic signals on US 50 to be held in a green phase during dedicated periods of time. The proposed project also includes a pedestrian overcrossing at Canal Street. This agreement with Caltrans is the very first step in the project development process. Caltrans is the agency assigned to plan, design, and operate and maintain the state highway system. A cooperative agreement is required whenever there is an exchange of effort, funding, or materials between Caltrans and a public agency regarding any phase of a project implemented on the state highway system. This item is considered routine in nature as the city has executed many cooperative agreements with Caltrans to implement projects on US 50. I want to make sure that it is clear that this cooperative agreement does not approve the project. It is only allowing the city to start the project. As part of the project initiation, the city is also requesting to be designated the CEQA lead agency for the project. Although this project is on US 50, some of the environmental concerns involve potential impacts to Hangtown Creek, local roads, and local private properties. The city requests CEQA lead agency delegation to ensure that all local concerns are addressed and is also ensure timely project delivery. Staff is recommending approval of the cooperative agreement with Caltrans to begin the initial project steps. Following approval of the agreement, the city would then submit a request for allocation of the funding, procure an engineering and environmental consultant, and begin the environmental phase of the project. That concludes my verbal report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Do we have questions or comments from the council? Councilmember Saragosa?
Thank you, and thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I just wanted to really highlight, because I was seeing some confusion on this issue, and really this is just, the very first step to some degree in whether this project goes forward or not. Melissa, at this point, there's no money identified, correct, for this project to move forward?
We have funding identified for the design and right-of-way phase, but we do not have funding for construction.
Right, so we still have quite a bit to go on that, which is about 11, 12 million, I think?
Yes.
Higher?
Yeah, maybe more.
Way more, okay.
We don't know yet because we don't have the project identified.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so still a long ways to go through this process. One question I had, and I know just because they were so involved in the process, was EDCTC, and I know they weren't a signer to this agreement, but should they be a signer to this agreement or no? I just didn't know if that was anything.
No, the city is the implementing agency.
Okay.
So we would execute the agreement with Caltrans.
Gotcha. But we'll still be working in conjunction with EDCTC. Gotcha. Okay. Those are my only questions.
Okay. Okay, we will open this for public comment.
Ruth Michelson, Merchant 352 Main Street. So thank you, Ms. McConnell, for your report, and thank you, Councilmember Saragosa, for your clarification that this is just initial study phase. So what I have to say may be premature or may be somewhat not applicable, but I'm going to forge ahead. You can. So my concern in moving in this direction, I mean, the train has, left the station, and we're going forward. You all are going forward with your contract to continue to study this. And what I want to say is something somewhat anecdotal, but I think you've taken other anecdotal input before when you've gone down and spoken to merchants about this, that, and the other. And what I want to say as a merchant is that, we did this in 2022, and then in 23, we took time off from having any trip to green. And what I noticed as a merchant, and I'm a pretty observant person, is that I think some of this problem is self-correcting. And what I mean is that the word is out, that Apple Hill is a mess, it's congested, it's a parking lot when you get up there. And I think fewer people are choosing to go to Apple Hill because of it. And I noticed in the 2023 season that Main Street was not the parking lot that it had been previously when people were peeling off of 50 and taking Main Street and blocking it. I didn't see that in the fall of 23. I mean, I can't speak to neighborhoods. I don't know. I don't have eyes everywhere. But I just think it's worthwhile to step back and to consider before we go, full forward ahead that, again, it may be a self-correcting issue. I've got a lot of customers on the weekend in the fall who say to me, I tried going to Apple Hill. It was a parking lot up there. I stood there stayed in my car for 10 minutes, found the closest exit, and then came down to Placerville to shop. And I'm secretly going, Yahoo! Because that's great as a merchant downtown. So my time is winding up, but I just hope that this continues to be monitored, and certainly the consultant would do that. And you may come to the conclusion that trip to green is not necessary, and trip to green is certainly very detrimental to downtown businesses, and I feel like we were not brought into the study enough in what's been done thus far. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kirk Smith at Placerville. I do appreciate the staff's work and the questions asked because it is a matter of great concern to us. And I admit that when I get these reports on the weekend and there's not enough chance to contact somebody for a couple of days to get answers, it can produce a lot of anxiety because the significance potentially of this is great. Our policy should be oriented towards Placerville first and not Apple Hill, the casinos in Lake Tahoe, people going to ski slopes, wanting to pass by very quickly. So it'd be helpful to know how much money is involved. Is this strictly money from the state or the federal government, or how much of it is money from the city to do this study? How long will the study take place? And what certainty do we have that this is not going to be a permanent practice? We only had 3 sample weekends, and they're not necessarily representative. One of them was when it was unusually hot. And so when it's triple digits, people aren't on Main Street anyway. So we really can't tell the impact on Main Street. Another weekend was when it came to the big fire, and there was a need to exit, to evacuate. And one of the things we've learned about fires is that that old value of this community where we help our neighbors is very much alive. So everybody supports the idea of having one-way traffic on those kind of occasions. What would we have here? I think that for the kind of study that we need, it's the economic impact. And it's more broadly, to be sure, Dave Warren has data about sales tax revenues, but I'm not sure how much we can get on specific weekends to know what that data is, and then also to break it out for specific sectors. Some people are hurt worse than others. There's reports that the gas station down at Shell Station had a 42% loss of sales on those weekends. I don't know, but those are the kind of things you need to look at to see what the impact is like. In the 1950s, when we had an effort to put Highway 50 down past here versus bypass, I was a small child, but I remember the talk about what the adverse impact would be if we allowed it to bypass us, because we need that traffic, we need downtown business. And this is the most significant potential change to the potential impact on Main Street business that we've had since the 1950s and that rerouting. So we need to look very closely at the economic impact, and that's going to be something that I hope that is going to be focused with great care with this study. And again, I hope it's money that comes elsewhere and not out of our taxpayer dollars. Those are the concerns I would have for you.
Thank you, Kirk. Anyone else?
Afternoon, Ryan Carter, City of Placerville. I'd like to echo the comments of the previous two commenters. My comments focus more on the grant funding that we received. And I'll apologize in advance. I've been working on this all day, so if I'm a little slow, please apologize. Reading through the grant requirements, it appeared to me that the only requirement that we met on this was the evacuation portion of that grant requirement. So if the staff could possibly elaborate for us on, did we meet any other requirements of that of that grant besides the evacuation portion? Because I don't think that we're an underserved community or minority community or any other of the portions of that grant requirements to meet that. So if staff could elaborate on that, I would appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'll get there. It's been a long time. Nice to see new city council, lots of people that I don't know. I'm David Falzel from Placerville Hardware. I see a few people I know. Placerville has been quite a place for quite a while for me. But this project, to me, it can be very detrimental to downtown, and actually we probably have some numbers to prove it to you people. It's just something that you need to be very careful about when you consider this, because it's hard enough to be in business. It's the way it is. It's that we need help. We don't need deterrence, and we need the state to put some overpasses in. You need a permanent solution to the problem, not a Band-Aid. So, that's my concern. It's like, and we've been here a long time. The hardware store's been here a long time. I hope it can continue, but the way it's going, I don't know. So be careful. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we will bring it back to the council. I just want to make a comment about 3 sample weekends. We did have 3 sample weekends, but before we had that 3 sample weekends, we opened it up for the Caldor Fire to evacuate that end of El Dorado County, and I think that's an important thing to understand for Trip to Green in terms of, when and what and how we'll use it. Having that to be able to evacuate El Dorado County is always going to be a very important part of this for us. The fire we had this past weekend was another example. We had people ready on call to be able to implement that, but it takes quite a while to be able to implement that and quite a few people, whereas we're looking at an infrastructure where we could hopefully cut that time way down. I don't know exactly what that number is, but being able to implement that whenever we needed it in case of emergencies. And for me, that's one of the main reasons that we are moving forward with this. It's, not for Apple Hill and it's not for Tahoe, it's for the public safety of our entire community. I do have the same concerns about where all the money is coming from, so I will ask staff to go ahead and talk about where the money to date has come from and elaborate on that grant, if you will.
Sure. The local climate adaptation program is state funds, and it has a 20% match, which we have split, I believe, with the county so far, which our first phase of work is for the preliminary engineering and environmental documentation phase is $1 million, and so it's $800,000 of the state funds, $100,000 of the which funding source, Dave? It was the
Surface Transportation Block Grant Program.
yes, which is split with the county on that part.
Okay, so none from our general fund.
Correct. None from our general fund or other local funding sources.
Great. Yes, I just wanted everyone to understand that it's not coming out of our budget. And then, did you understand the question about elaborating on the grant?
The grant requirements?
Yeah.
I would have to look into more of those details. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Melissa, just a follow-up. Do you anticipate that we would have to use essentially general fund dollars going forward on this project, or do we thinking that this is going to be mostly funded or all funded through grants and basically revenue from the county as well on this project?
That is the plan, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say from my perspective, there's no way that I would ever see general fund money going to this project. There is, let's say this was just the first portion of the matching funds. My intent is to really push hard on the remaining portion of that, which I think is about $550,000, to push very hard on the county and actually the state to come up with those, help us with those matching funds going forward. So.
Thank you. I mean, just one more comment too is, I think some of the genesis, certainly the public safety aspect of it, as we've just witnessed over the last few days, but also we had people here at this podium telling us, and we've all certainly lived it as well, which is everyone pouring onto our surface streets when traffic gets backed up, which also creates a public safety issue. And so, a lot of this is not for people from the Bay Area just to zip through town. This is also for the quality of life of our people that live here and that we don't back up our arterial streets as well. So another portion of this was because of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric, can I? Just one more quickly along those same lines. I agree with you, Michael. And I wrote down as people were talking, and encourage everyone, please stay involved with this process throughout and help us with it, because I wrote down our goal is to actually improve business, not to hurt business. And I think there are ways through better access to downtown, some things that we can do to make that happen. So stay involved with us, help us as we go through this process and as we determine what will work, what can help you, rather than make it the opposite or worse for you. So appreciate you coming out tonight.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I know Sutter Creek had some of those same concerns when they built the bypass, and Sutter Creek is thriving. I mean, it is a great little, it is always busy, and they're a tourist town. I mean, we are not necessarily just a tourist town, we're a working town as well. So it'll always be a little bit different, but I think they're a good model as to how you still can be thriving even when, and in that case, there's just you don't have to go by that town at all. I mean, you can just go right past it. So, I mean, that's a close example of where something like this transpired.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, any comments? Okay, so do we have a motion?
I'll move staff recommendation.
I will second.
Can I get roll call, please?
Councilmember Zaragoza?
Yes. Sorry, I was.
Vice Mayor Clarici?
Aye.
Mayor No?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item 10, ordinances. 10.1. Oh, yeah, we should get our other council member. Can someone grab her? Welcome back. Okay. Okay, we are on 10.1, introduction by title only and first reading and rescission of the temporary moratorium on needles and syringe exchange programs in the city of Placerville. Mr. Rivas.
This is actually me. I
Okay.
apologize for that.
Mr. Morris.
I tried to get Pierre to do this. As you know, Mayor and Council, earlier this year in February, the council adopted this urgency ordinance which prohibited syringe exchange programs, syringe distribution programs within the city of Placerville. And later on April 9th, we extended that, which makes it go out for 15 months. Shortly after that, both the County of El Dorado and the City of Placerville were sued by the State of California. We reviewed all of our options. As you know, Council has looked at this based on the lawsuit, working with our City Attorney on different options and what we thought we could accomplish through this, which not potentially, absolutely would have been a very expensive lawsuit. So over the last several weeks, working with our city attorney, we actually worked with the state and settled the lawsuit. And a copy of that settlement agreement is attached to your staff report tonight. That settlement agreement does allow the syringe exchange program to continue in the city of Placerville. However, under some very strict, what we consider some very strict circumstances and conditions where they can do that. As part of that settlement agreement, the city has agreed to eliminate our urgency ordinance or rescind the ordinance that we put in place. So that's the purpose of this item tonight, is to introduce an ordinance which will rescind that, and then we'll come back with the second reading at your next meeting to finalize that process. Again, the conditions and the settlement agreement are attached to this that we can look at if you would like to. But with that, I'll give it back to council unless our city attorney has anything else to add to that. So,
We have questions, comments from the council? No, I think I just have one comment, and that's a disappointment in the state for not coming to us and trying to work out things before they just slapped us with a lawsuit. There wasn't any real consideration to try to save the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars by having a conversation first, so that, when people talk about getting along and cooperative things, I think they need to walk their walk, and I didn't really feel it was done here, and hope that we can all do better in the future. With that, I will open this to public comment.
I agree with you, Mayor. No, I think the state has done us a disservice here, and especially since they did not do the same thing to other counties who have told them no way they're going to let them do that. To just pull a lawsuit on top of us, I thought was one of those, we're the big guys and you will do what we say. And I thought that was really inconsiderate and obnoxious of the state to do this. And I'm glad to see that in this settlement agreement, at least we've put some controls on it. So it can't be quite the willy-nilly thing that it was before. So perhaps this is the best we can do at the time being.
Thank you.
Ruth Michelson. Well, Sue and I often agree, but not tonight. I have actually great respect for public health officials. I've told you before, I think that it's close to my heart. My mother had her PhD in epidemiology and was a biostatistician. And when professionals study a public health issue, I am going to trust, for the most part, their findings. And it has been disturbing to me that the county and the city have chosen to use anecdotal evidence to make these types of decisions. I think it is way beyond the scope of the bodies of the board and the city council to weigh in on public health issues. And I think that erroneous conclusions have been brought forward in the report that was prepared by the sheriff on this issue. It's kind of a cart and horse type of an issue to say, well, we don't need this because we have low HIV levels and Hep C levels in this county. To me, and I asked this directly to the sheriff, well, do you think possibly we have those low levels because we have a needle exchange program? I mean, it's, public health. So I actually do think the state did the right thing in expressing their authority, and I appreciate very much the city choosing to stand down on this one. And I did read the document, and the compromises, they seem reasonable. And, let the deep pocket of the county duke this one out if they want to. I feel they're going to lose, but at least you won't be wasting your money in losing a lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ryan Carter again. I want to echo the sentiment of the mayor. My understanding of this was that the two existing needle exchange programs in the city that we already had were not affected by this. Those were going to remain. They're already privately funded two needle exchange programs in the city. I will echo your, no matter where you land on this issue, it's pretty obvious where I land. But we had this conversation. We had dissenting opinions. We had we made a decision as a local body, and the state just came in and said, nope, and sued us, like you said, with no conversation whatsoever. So my lament is that we live in a state that does not care what local jurisdictions do for their own best interest, despite the great conversation and the dissent that we had on this issue. So I will just lament that it was totally unnecessary. It was an unnecessary expense. Needle exchanges would have continued in the city despite this. And I don't know what this accomplishes, but I will lament the fact that this was totally unnecessary lawfare from the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will bring it back to the council for further discussion and action.
I'll move that we rescind the urgency ordinance in accordance with the staff report.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gottberg?
Sorry, we're just introducing this one. We're
Introducing a rescission.
We're introducing the ordinance by title only and waiving the first reading.
Right.
I move that we do what our city attorney just said.
And I will second that movement.
Okay, can I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Saragosa?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici?
Aye.
Mayor No?
Aye. Okay, that brings us to 11 public hearings. We have none. And to 12.1, discussion and action items. Consider approval of an agreement with Regional Government Services for recruitment services for the position of Director of Development Services. I know, tongue twisters, right? Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you recall, during our budget sessions, we noted that our Development Services Director, Pierre Rivas, has decided he is ready to retire, set a date of the end of October. And so in order to have good continuity from a new person coming in, we wanted to get this started. I have spoke with this company. If you look at the timeline that is in the proposal, it puts us about middle to end of October when we would have somebody on board by the time they give notice and et cetera. So as you recall, we suggested that we use a professional service for this recruitment. It's extremely important that we get somebody that we hopefully can find someone that we're comfortable with and can do the job that we need done. Pierre's done a great job for us over the years. So the proposal from RGS, Regional Government Services, is $19,000. We also received one other proposal from Peckham and McKinney, a local firm that does that, for $27,000. One other one, Bob Murray, declined to respond, or they didn't have time to do it right now. So with that, it's my request that you approve the proposal, adopt the resolution, and authorize me to negotiate the agreement with them and execute that. So.
Okay. Questions from the council? Seeing none, we will open this for public comment.
Ruth Michelson. Pierre, you've done such a great job. Thank you for your service. I worked with you in the 90s for the county, so I've known you a long time. You're in planning department with the county. I was an engineer. So thank you, and thank you for all the years you've put in your dedication. I'm sure there'll be more time to say that later. And Mr. Morris, city manager, I have great respect for you as well. And I say this because the next thing will be harder to say. 20,000, did you say?
19.
And I know this is in a real penny pinching time that we're in with the city. And I'm just curious if other means might be tried first for recruitment. That's all I'm asking. You know, we've said before, gee, $5,000 is a taser. Well, gee, $6,000 is a street closure. And $20,000 is a lot. I mean, I'm sure you've looked into it, but I'm just asking as a concerned person that wondering if you might give it a try for a bit without using a consultant before you go that route. You know, there's so many places to post these days. It's, you know, everything is online. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say thanks, Pierre. Whenever I have had something that needed to be done to my house and I needed a permit for it to go, I've gone to our city, and every contractor I've worked with has been so impressed with how quickly our city turns things around and gets things done. And in contrast to the county, who they hate to work with. So thanks, Pierre.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will bring this back to the council. I will just make the comment that Pierre's position is a real key position that we need to find an experienced person for. He has almost an entirely new staff in his planning department, and finding someone with a lot of experience is going to be really important for the city. It's going to be a hard shoes to fill. But I just wanted to make that comment. I'll open it to the council for further discussion and a motion.
Yeah, I would just say, I think, you know, I'm actually familiar with 2 out of 3 of these firms. They do really good work. I actually used one of them when I was in the governor's office for exactly that reason, for a position that, while I got thousands of applications, it was good to have somebody that really dug into it, could do that initial sort of screening and have a better sense of who to bring forward, especially when you just don't necessarily have always the time. And we asked a lot of Cleve and of staff, and you know, we really do need that expert set of eyes to get us the best candidates to bring forward. And then from that position, then Cleve and the interview committees can do the rest of the job. So it's unfortunate. I mean, it is a lot of money, and I totally realize that, but I think it's money that will be well spent because of the importance of the position, and really making sure that we get it right the first time and that we're not back in 2 years doing it again. So with that, I would adopt the resolution to approve the agreement with RGS to recruit for the position of Director of Development Services.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gottberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Saragosa,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici,
Aye.
Mayor No.
Aye. All right, that brings us to 12.2. Consider increasing the youth basketball early bird player registration fee by $7 from $134 to $141 per player effective August 1st, 2024, and increasing the youth basketball post early bird player registration fee by $7 from $144 to $151 per player effective August 1st, 2024. Mr. Yule.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. The purpose of this recommendation is to recover increased costs associated with the operation of the city's youth basketball program. City of Placerville Recreation and Parks Department's Youth Basketball League has been a popular program conducted by city staff and volunteers since 1966. The program started out with 6 teams and has grown to 86. On January 1, 2024, California's minimum wage increased by 50 cents to $16 per hour. In addition, the cost for providing reversible jerseys has also increased. These increases have resulted in an estimated overall increase in operational costs in the amount of $4,477, thus providing justification to revise our fee structure. The revised fee structure is as follows. Increase the early bird player registration fee by $7 from $134 to $141 per player. In addition, increase the general registration fee by the same amount from $144 to $151. The proposed fee increase will ensure that program revenue will cover the increased cost associated with the program. Without the proposed fee increase, staff will fall short of the amount of money needed to keep the program self-supportive. The purpose of the revised fee structure was presented before the City of Placerville Recreation and Parks Commission meeting held on June 19th and unanimously approved for City Council consideration tonight. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions from the council?
I don't have a question. It is extraordinary how much money it costs to play sports, and this is actually one of the cheaper ones. You should sign your kid up for Little League or football or something. It's insane. But you got to cover your costs.
Anyone else? No? We will open this for public comment. Step right up.
You don't have to raise your hand.
Hello? Hello? It works. Okay, great. Hi, my name is Jack. I'm a local. I started up my own business recently, not that I'm up here to talk about that. But I was taking notes, and I was wondering, can you talk about why it's going up the $4,000 again? The only part that I was really able to jot down was the increase in jerseys. What other parts are,
We'll answer all the questions afterwards. So ask all your questions, and then you sit down, and then staff will answer all your questions.
Oh, okay, great. Because I actually have a family owner or that does all this down in Roseville. So if a good bit of it is just because of the jerseys, I can make it so that we can actually lower that price because everything's going up. So if you raise it up $7, you might be making it so that people can't really afford that extra $7, which in turn leads it to where you're not getting that money you otherwise would have gotten because you're out pricing them by $7. Is it worth it? If it's a couple dollars, sure, but when it hits over $150, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, and I want to encourage.
That's my concern. So.
I want to encourage you to talk to staff afterwards. If you can lower our costs, we always want to lower our costs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to get more involved in the community. This is my first town hall meeting, so look forward to seeing me more. So
great. We will look forward to it.
My name was Jack.
Thank you, Jack. All right. Can we have staff answer that question?
Yes, primarily the increase is due to the increase in minimum wage and not the jerseys themselves. The jerseys are going up about $3 per jersey. And yes, if I'll give you my card after the meeting, and if you got a better deal for us to keep those reversible jerseys at a lower cost, that would be great. I'd also mention that we also have our Youth Assistance Fund for those families who can't afford the increasing costs associated with our programs and services. That's available to any family that qualifies.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Where do we currently get the jerseys from?
As your interim director, I can't answer that question. I have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure where we're getting them from.
Are they local? I mean,
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions, discussion by the council? Okay.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Can I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gottberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Saragosa?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Clarici?
Aye.
Mayor No?
Aye. Thank you, and please get involved. We're happy to see you here. All right, we will move to item 13, council reports from other agency meetings. El Dorado County Transit Authority did not meet this month. Transportation Commission did not meet this month. LAFCO
Did not meet.
did not meet
Not
this
meet.
month. SACOG,
SACOG, we're dark this month.
but you went on a field trip.
I
right?
did go on a field trip, yes.
Okay, David is not here for Pioneer, and Fire Safe Council did not meet this month. And that brings us to Opportunity Knox.
We did not meet, but there will be a special meeting on Wednesday, July 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. that just got scheduled today to talk about a winter shelter. And they also have been asking for applications from agencies for funding for the winter shelter. So I'm assuming those two are connected items. I will not be able to attend that item. I did send it to Councilmember Yarborough as well as our city manager, but.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have public comment on our council reports? Seeing none, we will move to item 14, requests for future agenda items. Does anyone have anything? Seeing none, we will move to item 15, city manager and staff reports. 15.1, receive and file June Fire Station 25 run report. Chief Cordera, do you have anything?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, you'll see the stats for Station 25 in the report, and as it's been echoed earlier, and I'd be remiss not to really give kudos to all of our firefighters for the work that they've done over the last week. And when I say all of our firefighters, not only our firefighters here at Station 25, but up and down the county and across the state. Right now, we've got a lot of fires that are burning the state, but locally, when we had the fire out in Pleasant Valley and then the one the other day in Placerville, really a joint effort. And at one point during the fire by the airport, you had all but one resource from locally within the west slope of El Dorado County on that fire. You might have seen a Folsom engine covering Station 17 in Pollock Pines. So it really kind of branches on, the fire service beyond that. The other thing that really helped out to us, I got to give a plug to Cal OES. There's certain criteria where, based on the weather over the winter and during the summer months, when we hit certain thresholds, they will fund us to upstaff additional resources. And last week we had additional engine companies, additional chief officers, and water tenders that were staffed and ready to respond, and all of those did respond to both fires. We also were able to pull a strike team from Sacramento County that was funded underneath the OES preposition as well. So really a great collaborative effort. I'm very thankful we did not lose any homes. When I rolled in on pay dirt, I was very concerned with Duden and Country Club and the airport. But the crews did a phenomenal job, and really kudos also to our law enforcement partners. Obviously, a lot of the times during these fires, you think about the firefighters and hey, the great work they're doing, but they can't get in and do the work they're doing without our partners, with Placerville Police Department, EDSO out there, they're the ones pushing the evacuations. And when the evacuations go out on rave and perimeter and those sorts of things, that's great, but their commitment is always to go door to door and make that positive contact to get folks out of there, keep those roads open so the firefighters can get in and out and do what they need to do. And when people are evacuated, protecting those homes from those folks that might have ulterior motives of taking advantage of the situation. So, it's really just a collaborative effort, and I couldn't be prouder of all of our partnerships and collaboration with our law enforcement and firefighters. So I'll end my grandstand with that, but thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Fires are a huge undertaking, and we appreciate everyone's efforts. Thank you very much. All right, we will move to 15.2, Development Services Department Permitting Statistics for the month of June 2024. Mr. Rivas.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Nothing in particular to highlight for the month of June, but I do want to add, and I think we made some notes in this report that we're expecting, at least we're keeping our fingers crossed, that we'll be able to issue building permits for both the Mallard and the Middletown affordable housing projects, which will significantly provide impact fee revenues, both traffic impact mitigation fees, water, and parks. So with that, happy to answer any questions you have with regards to this for the June 2024 report.
Great, thank you. Questions from the council? Seeing none. Okay, we will open 15.1 and 15.2 to the public.
Sue Rodman, Placerville resident. My comments will refer to 15.1, the great job that our firefighters did. And it would be really a good thing if people would get their defensible space to make it easier for our firefighters to do their job. Because when you roll into a house that's this high in weeds and has got those marvelous bushes that are nothing but green kerosene, it makes their job much harder. So if people will cooperate and do their defensible space and get rid of those junipers that they make really pretty landscaping, but they are terrible for fighting fires. And take care of your own property and make the firefighter's job a little bit easier so that we don't see things like we saw this one where you had fire coming right up to the siding of the house. Well, if that person had done his defensible space, you wouldn't see that fire coming up right to his siding on his house. And the same thing for I'm really proud of our city for what we have done. And the airport needs to also look at their defensible space and make sure that the fire can't just come right up that hill and take out the airport. So if we all do our part, A, it will prevent fires from getting as big, and B, it will help our firefighters be able to do their job.
Thank you, Sue. You don't have to raise your hand. You could just get up.
Hi, Jack here again. So I was talking to my father who used to work for the county of Sacramento, and he brought to my attention, so just like in this area, there's a lot of people that'll go out right outside the city limits and they'll shoot their guns or throw their bottles. My father was telling me how in Sacramento wildfires would happen all the time just due to simple things like broken bottles. So there's to me, whenever I would walk my dog, it's been a while since he's gone, doesn't matter, but there's a lot of trash and a lot of garbage, and so maybe, not saying efforts need to be put in place, but something needs to happen because they can just spring up without it being intentional from anybody. So I agree. I don't know if getting a little close. I don't know if there should be some sort of fine to where, like a meter maid going around to, different houses and saying, hey, listen, you really need to at least cut this down, because it is a big issue. And, every year I just feel like there's more and more fires, and it's spikes the adrenaline. So anyways, those are my thoughts, I guess. So thank you.
Thank you. People can go on the city website and report problems there, and staff will follow up with those. All right, anyone else? Seeing none, we will bring it back to the council. Number 16 is upcoming items. I will let everyone read those for themselves. And number 17 is adjournment at 5:59 p.m.